Hi everyone, thanks for joining us, and obviously if you're not live and you're watching this on catch up, please feel free to drop me an email. I will drop in a second my email address into the chat, and I'll also put a link where you can book in some time with me to chat through your questions as well. So just a few introductions to start with. So I am, if you don't already know, Lynn Constantine, and I am the Customer Success Manager here at Supermums. And obviously today we are very privileged to have our instructor with us, Jeremy. So Jeremy, would you like to do an introduction, please?
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Lynn. So I'm Jeremy Garcia. I'm doing the training for Data Cloud, certified instructor with Salesforce since it's a while already. I originally do more on the Marketing Cloud side, but as the system evolving, and I'm going to talk a bit about it in a few slides. I think today is really important to focus on Data Cloud. But yeah, a bit about me. So I'm based in Barcelona, but I work internationally across Europe and a bit in the US. We focus. So I worked as Gift Clarity, Gift Clarity, sorry, and we are a company that is focusing on nonprofits. So a few of my clients, probably the one that you know would be would be UNICEF, would be Greenpeace, would be Terre Solidaire in France. I mean, we have different non-profit all over Europe. So that's about me in a nutshell.
Great, thanks, Jeremy. Thank you. So just a little bit, we are sponsored. We're very proud to be sponsored at Supermums for our Data Cloud course by Cube84. So thank you very much for Cube84 for sponsoring us. And just to move on with the discovery session. So Supermums themselves, we have a mission. I will add that we have many people that join our training courses. Specifically, I would say 80% are female, so mums predominantly. We're looking to reduce the gender pay gap, support women returners, increase the diversity of women in tech, increase the financial resilience of families, and address the gender skills pay gap. However, we do now welcome anyone. You don't have to be a mum to join one of our courses. You are welcome to join whoever you are and wherever you are on the globe. So I just wanted to let you know that. So Jeremy, could you tell us a bit about what you do, please?
Yes. So as I was saying, what we do on Data Cloud is mainly to help charities. So we are currently talking with different charities that potentially we want to use tools like Data Cloud, and one of the issue that they have and things that they want to solve is the fact that a lot of the data is kind of siloed, and they would have a lot of data, but they cannot always access it. So at the end, charities are no different than any other company that potentially you could work with. They end up with the same problematics, being like, we have plenty of data, but we don't know how to access this. We have plenty of data, but we don't really sure how to connect all of them together. And we could end up having someone that we know quite well, but at the end, we are missing some key information that will make that supporter, that customer known in the system and be able to interact. So that's kind of what we're trying to do with the tool. And me personally, that's what I'm trying to achieve with the different charity I'm working with. So as I say, it's like we focus on your charities. I'm taking care on the marketing side, and Data Cloud is pretty much linked to marketing, because to be strong and having a strong marketing and marketing campaigns and so on, you need to have a strong data. If you don't have the data as a foundation, you won't get far, or you would be doing what some people are doing, which is pretty plain and generic marketing with really few personalization, really few dynamic content. Basically, Data Cloud is the answer to that. It will help you enrich your data and make your campaign more interesting.
Great, thank you. And I have seen a few people join. So for those of you that have joined, if you've got any questions throughout, we will do a Q&A at the end, but you're very welcome to jump in with any questions if there's anything relevant at that point. I am just putting into the chat a link to my Calendly diary. So if you want to book in some time with me afterwards, please feel free to do so. Could you let us know, Jeremy, from your side, what are the benefits of doing data cloud training, please?
Yes. So as I was saying, Data Cloud is answering some of the problematic companies will have. And basically, today is a really good time because more and more companies facing those issues where we have a lot of data and we don't know how to connect it together and we don't know how to
Yeah.
leverage it. Sometimes it just lie there and just receive more and more and fill up without being leveraged. So the benefits that you guys could have if you join that training on Data Cloud is to learn about that platform, obviously, but it's because you're going to become like a key element potentially of any company you will want to apply in the future. I was finishing a training last week where we were discussing about what is the next step for the person who was doing the Data Cloud training, and I was saying it's like you would have different paths. Either you will work directly with one of those clients that purchase like the license on Data Cloud, and you will help them grow and build Data Cloud, because what you're going to learn in the training is basically everything you need to know in order to start using the using Data Cloud. So we cover a lot. Later on we have a slide about the agenda and I will explain a bit more like what we do in those ones, but the key benefits for you specifically is to learn and get new skills that's going to be helpful in any of the company that's going to work on Salesforce, because Salesforce is shifting more and more with Data Cloud being the centerpiece of what they're doing, and people will need to have those skills. And regardless if it's pure Salesforce admin with report and data, or if you're going more with the marketing angle, you need to have those strong data. So if today you're already learning about how to use Data Cloud, how to configure it, and how to go deep into the integration of all those different data within Salesforce, you're going to become like a key element of any company that will want to use Data Cloud.
Great, thank you. Thank you for that. It's always useful to find out what your opinion is on the benefits. And this is another slide for you, how Data Cloud works, please.
Yeah, so just for people who are wondering, like, what is really Data Cloud? Why is it so important? So I mentioned it a few times, give you some hints, but the idea, if you look starting from the left and going to the right, is really like all those companies have different data sources. Regardless of the company is always the same. You would have potentially a CRM, you would have a data warehouse. Sometimes you would have tracking information, coming from Google, or even sometimes streaming apps, depending on what you're using. That is data that you need to leverage. And sometimes it's really hard to unify those one because you don't know really if Lynn is the one that is living in the data warehouse, but also in the CRM, but maybe she did purchase something. How do we link all that together? And that's what Data Cloud is doing, is bringing all those data together, linking them, so then it can be used by all those different services. Here you have some example about sales, services, marketing, commerce, etc. So the idea is really that is like you bring those data and then that will help you to leverage it and go a bit more deeper into the action that potentially you can do with it.
Great, thank you. So just a question that is always really good. What does a day in the life of Jeremy look like?
So you ask me, like, considering like Data Cloud marketing, like more what is
Yeah,
specifically what you're thinking?
I
Yeah.
think just you do this as a daily basis as well as your training. I know that you work within Data Cloud, and it's just nice to see what a day looks like in someone that works in Data Cloud as opposed to the training side of it.
Yeah, no, and it's really interesting because strangely enough, you on Data Cloud you spend more time planning than actually doing, and that's something I stressed
Okay.
during my training, that um, the bulk of the work, or the hard part, is really like the planning, the vision of how the data is going to be synced together, because there is one thing that clients of Data Cloud are a bit scared is the pricing model of Salesforce, because it's based on consumption. So as a consultant on Data Cloud, you have to be really careful on the way you're going to configure it, because you have to make it in a way that is like efficient but also cost effective. You don't want to bring everything in one time. So you have to plan, okay, what are my use cases? And you spend a lot of time just talking about use cases and what are the stakeholder, what are they trying to achieve? And basically you list those use cases, and therefore you focus on the data based on those use cases. So it's really about planning, and sometime before even jumping on the platform, you could spend like several weeks just doing the planning on an Excel, I would say, like to recruit before you even go on the platform and have fun, like configure it. So that's, I would say, like that's the bulk of what a consultant will do, is more like give the vision, make sure that you configure it in a long-term vision rather than just like, okay, let's connect everything and we will see later, how it goes.
Yeah, I think that's always so important to project manage everything before you actually roll it out, isn't it?
Yeah.
So again, just to say, has anyone got any questions relevant to that particular slide? As I say, you're welcome to do the Q&A at the end, or you can drop them in the chat at any point if you do. The fact none are coming in, you're obviously doing a great job, Jeremy. Okay, so if I just say about the course and the way it's run, our course is over 3 weeks. It is 7 hours per week. There are 2 sessions on a Wednesday and Thursday. And when we talk about GMT, it's 6 p.m. till 9:30. As I say, that's UK time. So in terms of, if you're not in the UK, you'll need to see what time zone you're in to work out what time it is where you are. So would you like to talk a little bit about the cert? I know it's the SDC 101, but can you tell us a little bit about that, please, Jeremy?
Yeah, sure. So I mean, like everybody what comes to the data cloud training, one of the first aim that they have is to pass certification, which is normal because it's like you want to show that you've learned it, and the Salesforce ecosystem kind of work like this, where you want people to be, do you have a certification? So that's kind of like the first step to show that you know the tool. Obviously, is not everything, because you need to learn and practice, but the certification is really important. And I will say that the data cloud training, data cloud 101, is really key to pass that certification, because I will say represent 80% of what you need to learn is covered. I would say even 90, if I want to be honest, like 90% of what you need to learn for the certification is covered during the training. So most of the time, when people come, like, okay, what do I do? Is like, I say, you do a training with me in parallel. I give pointer of the trailhead that you need to do, the trail mix and so on, because obviously there's some personal work that is on parallel of what we're doing. But most of the people that does the training with me, the training on trailhead, and sometimes I give them also some website about some cert, like to practice a bit the type of question I would get. The majority of the people who do that actually pass the certification.
Great.
So it's really something that is going to help you. And also, what I've noticed working with Supermom for a little while now is that often it's like we are in a small group, whereas before sometimes training when we're like 10, 15. Here we're quite a small group. People can take time, we can ask questions. Is really like a pace that is linked of how fast you guys are going. And it's, I found it cool because it's really like, okay, we can take the time to explain all those different concepts rather than just rushing because there and there is having like problem and we need to solve. And no, it's like you take the time, you explain. And people that I met sometime like ping me on LinkedIn and say, oh, I got a certification, thank you very much, etc., etc. So it's really like something that's going to help you to achieve it. If one of the aim is like to get certified, I would say that training is really for you.
Great. And I think that's so important as well when you say about the training side of it. I think it's the wraparound that people come to Supermums for as well, just because of the support and guidance and assistance. And of course, we all love to celebrate a success as well.
Yeah. If I can just add one thing as well that makes,
Sure.
I think, a difference for the people that comes to the class is that in Data Cloud, when you do the trailhead, they provide you kind of an org where you can practice. But during the training, during those 3 weeks, you actually get a dedicated one, which we connect some data sources that is provided by Salesforce, and you really have the experience of I'm actually configuring Data Cloud rather than just doing some piece of work there and there during Trailhead. Here's really like from A to Z, like the full process of connecting and taking action on data. So that's why I think it's really interesting because people get the full vision.
Brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I think as well, something else that's nice is that we do training for not only individuals, but we do training for organizations. We have teams who like to either come onto public courses, or we can offer, if you've got a big team that wants training, we can offer private courses as well. But what I would say is book in some time with me on the Calendly link that I've shared, and I will, as I said, also drop in an email address if you'd like to ask any questions. So the next slide, of course, I just jumped forward and back again because I know you wanted to carry on with that last slide. But the next date of the next course is week commencing the 12th of March. You would need to enroll by the 28th of February to get onto this particular course. We obviously need to get you all set up and ready. The cost of the course is $1,500. But as I'm sure you'll agree, in terms of any upskilling, you're going to get it way back more back in terms of your next paycheck. So definitely money well spent for sure. So would you like to give us a little bit of an introduction on the actual sessions, please?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you.
So as I would explain, we have 6 sessions. So it's a 3 weeks class. So we do session 1 and 2 in 1 week, and so on. The first week where we focus is kind of like introducing Data Cloud, explaining what it is, what it's not, explaining the concept, explaining the data model that lives in Data Cloud, because people doesn't often realize how vast it can be in terms of model. So we kind of touch base a bit on this. And then we do the first step, which people generally like interested in, is connecting data into Data Cloud. So it's really the first step of we take some existing data that is provided by Salesforce, we inject it in Data Cloud, and we see actually that becoming live inside the platform. So it's really exciting because it's really like, okay, I got it and I just connect it. The second week is, now that we have the data, it's still raw, how do we map it to our data model? So that's part of the what we call the harmonization, which is taking some raw data and mapping out to the data model that I would have described on the first week. And then the third session is more about, now that I have the data is structured the right way, how can I leverage it? And it's more about, okay, I'm creating segments, I'm creating calculated inside, and then I'm having all that. How do I take it out to take an action on other platforms? So we do really like the process of injecting, harmonization, and leveraging the data for another platform. So that's kind of like how it's being coded. And during the whole process, we have the same org that we are using and building little by little. And people often during those weeks use that account to kind of like look what's happening and how it works. And sometime when they do like Trailhead is actually good because they have a node that they are configuring, so they can look at what is inside Trailhead and just compare it. I got people that told me like, yeah, I like it because I can also get familiar with the interface, because when you do exercises with me, you kind of follow, but then when you're on your own and you have the interfaces, that's the time when you can be like, okay, I'm learning for the certification, I know they're talking about segment, show me again the interface. And people can on their own like take that time and just go back in there. So that's why I like it to be spread, because the original training is like a 3 days, like back to back, whereas with Supermom it's spread, and I think that gives people plenty of time to really like learn about Data Cloud at their own pace.
Yeah, and do you know what? I've just spotted that the date is different to the date that we had on I think this is Eastern time, isn't it? I'm sure. So it's 6 p.m., isn't it? GMT.
So the time that I have, let me tell you, for the 12. Yeah, it's 1 to 4:30 your time. So
okay. So that time that I had at the beginning is wrong.
yeah, I didn't pay attention. In which slide you were having it?
So I think at the beginning, I'm sure there was a slide that said 6 p.m.
Right.
But anyway, we now know
that's the time, because
1 p.m.
it's like, as I'm based in Barcelona, for me it's from 14 to 5:30. So yeah, that's matching.
Perfect. So 1 p.m. GMT. So that's Wednesdays and Thursdays over 3 weeks. So that just confirms that. And I have just dropped a couple of links in. I've dropped in Jeremy's LinkedIn if you'd like to join him on LinkedIn. I know lots of people do that have done training with him. So that's quite often nice to do. So, okay, so this is something that everyone is talking about. I'm going to let you take this, Jeremy, but Agentforce is just, it's on everyone's lips at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah, no, exactly. And like plenty of people with the data cloud have kind of like Agentforce as being their part two, like journey with Supermom, where they focus on that because data cloud is kind of like the foundation of Agentforce. So of course there's plenty of things to configure, and if people are interested, I suggest really like to look online everything that can be done with Agentforce. There's like plenty of videos for you to kind of understand it. But yeah, is really like the next step in terms of AI and how to leverage your data to achieve some steps. Like the other day I was practicing with it, and there was like things about people raising a case, and you could get a sentiment on the case straight away because you read the comment of the person, and that you can get the data from data cloud of all the different touch points of that person, so you give more info and therefore like help of the resolution of the case. So yeah, everything is kind of like interconnected between data cloud and Agentforce. That's why I think it's quite a natural path to go from learning about the data and learning how to play with the data with AI and Agentforce.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's definitely the first step for sure. Okay, so another one over to you. How does Data Cloud work?
Yeah, so continuing in that, so that's giving you a bit more of details than the one I showed you before. But the principle is the same. You will have, on the left side, the different data sources, and the aim, and it's what we cover, in the first week. I would say in the first week we cover column 1 and 2, the data sources and the connect. Where the second week we do more the three column that in the middle. So we have the raw data and we just connect it to the data model so that we can unify all those person. And then the third week is more what you have on the right, which is acting on your data. So it's like we have the data now is harmonized, like what do I want to do? And then you will want to take it out and extract it potentially into other platform. So that's kind of the thing that we review all together. And once you have all the data that is mapped, there's also the Agentforce that can leverage data. So again, everything is kind of connected, and I would say the 5 first column are probably the most important one, and that's why we spend 2 weeks on them, just on those one, because that's the foundation, and that's the part where people take a bit more time to understand, because it's really like something linked to data cloud, where segmentation can be done in the mindset of other people is the same segmentation you will do on other platform. But the way data cloud works make it really powerful for that connection across all those different platforms.
Brilliant. Thank you. So we've come to the section where we have any questions. I know that I have lots of questions about Agentforce, and I know we're going backwards as well. But I think, it's the way everything's going, isn't it? And obviously with Data Cloud being the first steps in your Agentforce journey, I think that is certainly a question that I get asked very regularly. And I can't see any questions. Once again, it must mean that you're doing a great job. Was there anything else you wanted to add, Jeremy, to the session today?
No, I mean, like the only thing I would say is that it's like I would say don't jump ahead into okay, I don't want to know data, I just want to know the cool stuff and the shiny thing on AI and so on. I would say AI doesn't exist without the data, and all the companies will have the same issue, that they have the data, but it probably is not structured the right way, allowing them to leverage the AI. So that's why it's like if you want to be competitive in the market, which often is for people joining Supermom because they're sometimes changing career or they want to grow. The data is essential, even if like people will be like, oh, it's not the sexiest part, but it's a part that is key and if you want to make a difference, that's what you should be learning. And I say learn that first, then move to learning Agentforce, because if you get those two skills together, that's gonna be essential. So yeah, that's all. My only recommendation today is really more that, like, take your time into that path, learn about the tools, but definitely Data Cloud will be an asset for you.
Absolutely. And I'm going to say thank you so much for joining us, for those of you that are here with us. For those of you that are watching on catch up, please feel free to add myself or Jeremy on LinkedIn. Ask us any questions. We're always here and always happy to help. And as I said, you're welcome to email me or book in some time with me also. So from me, thank you very much for joining.
Yeah, thank you everyone.
Thank you, and take care, and hopefully we'll see you very soon.
Yeah, thank you. Bye bye.